Islam. Okay, I'm back. All right, this is part two, Arrington-Bey, and Monty is listening to this video too. And once again, it's December the 26th, 2018, and I got off work, and I'm gonna continue. This is part two. So Dwayne, once again, so Imani and I, Imani Gray-Bey and I, Rhonda Arrington-Bey, we reject the code that is given to masses of people that cause them to be telepathic. Because I see there is a spirit of bondage connected to this code, and I know that if the children are able to see spiritually when someone is being attacked mentally, the children, they're being born with this code, okay, and they're able to see if someone's genitals is being spiritually attacked, and the adults are still doing it in front of the children like it's nothing. Can you imagine what type of generation is being raised up to have a tolerance for violence, and then a tolerance, and while they're attacking spiritually, Arrington-Bey, they're saying paid, okay? So if the earth, Arrington-Bey, and the universe is made in freedom and love and peace and harmony, we're supposed to be learning how to harmonize as natural beings, because these are natural laws. What is this opposite that's being rooted up to have a high tolerance for violence? Extreme high tolerance for violence. So there's definitely a presence that's been here for a while that's so unclean, demonic. This spirit is an unclean spirit, and it's murderous. It's murderous, and this spirit thought ahead. It knew that we as divine souls will be awakening, and naturally we will want to attune to energies that are natural to us, and that includes freedom. Because the earth and the universe is made in that Allah that we serve, our highest self, that we are striving to be attuned with, that is connected to the universe, external and internal, is a spirit of love, freedom, and justice, and harmony, and all the other divine energies, the 99 attributes of Allah. So what is this spirit, that's this presence that exists and has existed for a long time? And it's not just being served by those, quote unquote, who don't have a nationality, such as that which is under status of Black, Negro, and African American. This species of entities that exist, or animals or beast-like spirits that exist, because that's exactly how they behave. They don't have a nationality. They consider themselves Black, African American. This is unclean spirits I'm referring to, and they have and they are definitely have been the main ones in this hemisphere, and I can see the war tactic in that, because they come as being conscious Blacks, African American, the churchgoer African American, the Islamic, Assalamu alaikum, African American, all praise to Allah, the pro-Black, Black Panther, African American. So they come in many forms. So this presence, this unclean spirit, thought ahead. It knew that we were going to be awakening, and this group, this species of unclean spirits that is under the status of Black, African American, is programmed, all right, I see, because to deliberately deter, amalgamate, whether it's sexually, physically, mentally, through possession of the mind, any means necessary to keep that soul from rising and raising her or his frequency to that which is natural to him or her, and that these in doing that, that soul is developing divine attributes within her or his self. Okay, so definitely, so that's the African American, the unclean spirits of the African American, quote, black. And so then there are those that are, quote unquote, they might have claimed their nationality as Moorish Americans, Dwayne Bathfield Bey, but they too are serving this spirit. Hence, when I hear spirits, because now, Dwayne, I'm focusing on spirit and physical, and it's not just physical, but physical and spirit. And Matthew of the Holy Bible, which was made public law, Islam, it speaks of spirit, unclean spirits, devils. Okay, so the Holy Bible was made public law in this Northwest Mexico. Okay, so the Holy Bible has substance. I say this quite a bit, and I'm so thankful to learn that through Moorish American National Republic. But that does not mean that there aren't Moorish Americans who have chosen to serve this presence that's in the universe, this spirit. This unclean spirit, it's not it is, once again, it's murderous. It is clever. It knows, I feel it's obviously have studied the line. So let me tell you what I've experienced, Dwayne. Okay, telepathically, these spirits can send thoughts. Okay, so we are among a telepathic community where, and to show you things or a thought that you might be embarrassed that you did when you was a child, because you don't know. I know I didn't know all the cameras that are being used. That birds, when they fly around, that camera, these are not natural birds. Okay, so you have birds that have been developed, okay, from the original host. You have cats and dogs that have been developed or created from the original host. Okay, they were doing this before when they were experimenting with the pet bull and the chihuahuas, and or they would say, or they even said that the dog is a species from the wolf. All right, the wolf is the original, but the dog comes from the wolf, right? So if they're doing so, never, I don't think during this time of knowledge, of understanding how they were experimenting with dogs and cats, I don't think we thought, I know I didn't when I was in my younger age of 20, 19, 18, that they would do this with humans. But they have, and they are, and they have done it on a mass scale. Because we don't know we don't know what other DNA they put to make it look like a soul. Okay, so there is a unclean spirit, a presence that even Moors who are in their proper status that is serving, and it's real. They could be from the Washita tribe, or they could be from here. And this unclean spirit is sacrificial. It's demonic. That means they deal in sacrifice. They sacrifice souls. They are dealing in harm. They have unioned with this presence and felt like they have received some form of payment for doing so. So when I was thinking, so many times I'm out and I hear spirits yelling, I paid. So I'm like, what did they pay and how much did they pay? Dwayne Bathfield Bey, payment comes in many ways. So when a spirit, an unclean spirit who is obviously knowledgeable of the vibration and the frequency of the earth, and knows how living in a righteous manner not only affects you personally, but that which is around you, because you're sending off a frequency, all right, to the earth and the universe. that same frequency, or I mean that energy, there's another energy that is created when you do things in a manner, or an action in a manner in reference to your lower self, okay? And if you feel gratification from it, okay, maybe it's a sacrifice to you feel like you need to save the nation, okay? So much wrong is done, and I just need to hurry up and cover things up to save our nation, or hide what my child has done, or hide what my parents have done. And you start doing things causing pain, or creating, or kill, whatever you need to do. That sends a frequency, that, or energy out. That is a payment, because individually, as divine souls, we are on individual journeys, right? So Dwayne Buffett kept saying through in my thoughts to you, it matters how you love. It matters how you love. So if you love, Monty, say Islam while you're over there.
Islam.
All right, say it again.
Islam.
That's my son, Imani Great Arrington-Bey. If you love through a energy or a spirit where you have betrayed purity, you have betrayed yourself, your higher self, or if you connect to a sect or a group, and you do it through dealing with sacrifice. Maybe some of the rituals you have to do is homosexual activities with another woman. Say a female have to be with another female, or a male have to be with another male. All those, that is a form of payment. You understand? Because that means something inside your thought process felt like you had to do that, and in doing those unclean behaviors, that unclean spirit received, that presence that's in the universe, received gratification. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? There is a presence in the earth and the universe that receive a strong gratification from seeing individual souls that have the potential to raise a frequency of righteousness that not only affects them personally, but because it does, once you do that, you are seeing a frequency that others can feed off of, and or when I say feed off, or commune with, mutual communing. But if you have, and so this unclean spirit gets a gratification because it's here to kill and destroy when it sees that which has the potential to live in a righteous manner, use their lower self energy for instant gratification, whether it's physical, financial payment. You think financial payment, you think physical money, gold, billionaire, living at ease. But that's nothing, Dwayne. That's nothing compared to payment of that can be of an unclean nature and a divine righteous nature. Do you understand? So when I hear spirits yelling, we paid, or I paid, my spiritual eye is telling me that is a unclean spirit, saying how possibly they know that there are Moors, whether they Washita, Moorish American National Republic, or that which is have the should have wisdom to use their highest self, or try to understand what the highest self is, but have chosen to fall short on their highest self, and have sold their higher self, or relinquished it or something, to receive a payment. And in that, some form of payment, and this is dealing with spirit, not just physical. The payment, gold, billionaire, big house, that's nothing. That is absolutely nothing. I'm saying spiritual. lying. You're lying. When these spirits, these unclean spirits, are saying we paid, they are definitely referring to lines, souls that they know, all right, that they got through their unclean acts. First, their thoughts, their unclean thoughts, words, and deeds, and that they know that those souls, not only it does not affect just them, but it affects those awakening souls that are awakening and looking for guidance and are trusting. Because this spirit, once again, has been around for a long time. I was thinking about when I was listening to the video, When Rocks Cry Out, and it talked about Mexico. It was talking about how so I was thinking about When Rocks Cried Out. I listened to the guy speak of the book. All right, I haven't read the book yet. This guy was breaking down the book on YouTube, and I said, okay, let me listen to this. I need to read it myself. But I started to think about the video I saw when I was in New York as well, about how it spoke of Mexicans, or not Mexicans, or those from South America. Maybe it could have been the I can't remember exactly which tribe, Aztec, Mayans, but they dealt with human sacrifice. And then when I was listening to the video When Rocks Cried Out, it spoke of first of all, it spoke of there was this spirit, not unclean, he said a spirit that was being worshipped. Okay? But how this spirit became powerful wasn't through righteousness. How he demonstrated this spirit became powerful was through causing harm and forcing itself among the people, or not people, or the natives that were already in this northwest of Mexico. Okay? Now, once again, I have to read the book. So, one of the things I realized in reference to spirit, Dwayne Barfield Bey, I see this unclean spirit in the present day and time. Know that we as Moorish Americans, awakening souls, have a frequency, and we have been here. Okay, and so our frequency gravitate to that which is like us. So just like the bird that is not truly a bird, but has that DNA from the original host, there are Mexicans, or that which speaks Spanish, that is unclean in spirit, but is not the original. All right, these are created experiments. You understand? But they have that DNA that has a frequency like the original host, like the original soulful being, such as myself. So this unclean spirit that is present, that is present today time, this extremely demonic and murderous spirit that's here to kill and destroy through many acts of temptation, so many ways, so many war tactics. It used that which is Spanish, or that claim to be from Mexico, El Salvador, that frequency to connect with awakening souls. So you might think, I know for me, let me give you my experience. I've always felt a natural gravitation to that which speaks Spanish, or want to defend. Never will I walk around and say they need to get their citizenship. Why are they here? They're taking our jobs, that sort of thing. Never, ever, ever would I say that. Okay? And I couldn't understand. I mean, I did understand, but that was something natural. But see, understanding ancient bloodlines and ancient um people. I see, Dwayne, my ancient ancestral line, naturally North America, South America, the surrounding islands, we communed, we were one. Okay, so this unclean spirit know that that frequency exists in some of us that are awakening. So it uses these created beings that speak Spanish, this unclean spirit that has that frequency, to try to engage. When we first came to Annapolis, Maryland, we were going to Moorish American National Republic almost every Friday. We would be walking back around 1:30, 2 a.m. And every time we would walk back, not every time, I would hear somebody speaking Spanish next to inside the as we walk past the gas station. I mean, just speaking Spanish loud, like, oh, she's okay, blah, 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 she, loud. At first, the first time, you don't think nothing of it. Then the second, third, fourth time, this gas station is owned by Arabs, or look to be from India or the Middle East, okay? And I was like, why is someone always outside speaking Spanish loud at the gas station when we walk past? You understand? Then I know Spanish people. I told you that one time I was molested for about 5 seconds. I didn't know what it was that was molesting me, but there was brown skin. I opened my eye, or 10 seconds, I opened my eyes to see. It was brown skin, had black hair. And then I opened my eyes and I started praying to Allah for protection. Then I started notice that looked to be Indian or from Mexico would start saying, he F-U-C-K-U when I was out. I mean, I could just be walking past someone crossing the road, and that Spanish person walked by and said, he F-C-K-U, he F-C-K-U. This is a war tactic. Because if my skin is not thick, how that's going to make me feel? That can cause me to lose my mind. Okay? This is spiritual. I was sleeping. My dream was invaded. Now I want to keep saying also that which do this. Many times I've seen an implication of that seem to be connected to the United States military, the Navy, and the Army. Many times. Too many times to count. All right? Too many times. I'm like, what is going on with these spiritual attacks in reference to the United States Navy, Army? Too many times. I told you about the black male that came into Burger King after I was only working there for maybe 2 months. It had to be about 2 months because it was in the summertime, sweating profusely, singing how we gonna get a soul. And he had the Army emblem on the back of his truck. Like he was possessed. Then this past weekend, day before yesterday, 2 days ago, I had another dream. Because one thing I noticed in reference to dealing with war tactics and what this unclean spirit, this all-seeing eye, it uses different groups. Because its goal is to kill and destroy, to keep the frequency low, and to keep implementing that spirit of bondage any means necessary. I was dreaming, and I dreamt that this Imani had went to the bathroom, because I woke up, he was in the bathroom. This Spanish male, now once again, many times this happened, someone Spanish would try to, it looked like forcefully mentally engaged Dwayne Bey while I'm sleeping. And this is after one of the black Negroes, African American, have tried to either molest mentally or mentally engage. Okay, so after they try, okay, it's like, well, now we're going to create a situation to invoke fear, okay, so that she will gravitate to one of the Negro blacks. Because you know, a Negro has no nationality. A black African American has no nationality, is not even considered human, and 9 times out of 10 is something else anyway, being bred in the population among divine souls, the female and the male, Islam. So being bred among women and men, divine souls, and used to attack spiritually, just like the Mexican or the unclean spirits of the Mexican and whatever. So I had a dream that the Spanish guy was trying to get me to release or have an orgasm. I didn't feel anything. Then I woke up. It's like he was standing next to me trying to like say, release, release, and they're trying to like vibrate next to me to get me to. This is really Dwayne Bey and Imani, like my vagina, literally trying to get my vagina to vibrate where I can have an orgasm. I woke up in about maybe, I don't know, 6-7 seconds, and I saw this like picture of something like that was possibly like some type of voodoo or something, implying that, Dwayne, that you put something for protection over me. Dwayne, I know that's not true. I'm just praying over my higher self to stay focused. But this unclean spirit, these unclean spirit that's Mexican, Spanish, El Salvador, Puerto Rican, whatever they are here. They use the attack of the genitals, okay, to weaken a soul, so she or he will amalgamate, and also to possess the mind. And once again, most of them imply, or there's the United States military, Navy, Army close by. And so Prophet Noah Drew Ali taught us as Moorish Americans to respect the United States military, Navy, and Army, Islam. So, these are those that have taken oath or affirmation to uphold the United States Constitution, U.S.A. Constitution, Abraham Lincoln's proclamations, Abraham Lincoln's 13th Amendment with 20 sections, all the Articles of Confederation, Articles of Association, Declaration of Independence. So the proclamations and the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, Dwayne, I have learned these are divine laws of freedom. So if these unclean spirits that imply to either be in the military, have been in the military, work for the military, are behaving like this, I would say 9 times out of 10 they have not taken oath or affirmation under these divine laws of freedom. So okay, so I noticed with that which is unclean, that's Spanish and Mexican, they are very clever. They use a lot of psychological body language, okay? They're not sloppy like the Negro African Americans that are easily sacrificed and definitely, obviously, in self-annihilation. This is unclean spirits of the Negro African American. These Spanish they much more clever, and they are they are definitely a tool. Okay, these are experiments. A tool that's used to cause stress, probably to kill, to induce pain, just like the Negro, Black, or African American unclean spirits, to possess the mind, to implement a religion such as Catholicism, Christianity. But they are much clever than the Negro African American. These experiments. Okay, I remember I was wondering why they were always looking at me, these Spanish males and females, like they're trying to engage and saying F-U-C-K all the time. You know, I was like, why are they doing this? I have never implied that I wanted to get to know one. I have never had a relationship with any Spanish or Mexican before. Never. But this creature is used as a war tactic to kill and destroy. That's why. Whether they're calling themselves werewolves, they're trying to say they're Freemason, whatever it is that this unclean spirit used to create in this matrix, but the goal is to kill and destroy, because there's a change happening, the rise of frequency in the universe through love, freedom, peace, and other divine energies. So when they start saying werewolf, I will never forget. I was saying that I was sending a text or a tweet to you one time as I was listening to Moorish American National Republic. So many times they imply to know Moors at Moorish American National Republic, the Mexican or the Spanish that yell werewolf. They seem to apply. I never forget this. I was like, why do they keep implying that they know Moors? So what they're implying is that they have an agreement, because so if they're implying that they know Moors and they behaving unclean, so they're saying that Moors in Moorish American National Republic or the Washita or someone from the Washita and this Mexican, this unclean spirit that's Mexican or Spanish, are serving that unclean spirit, that presence in the universe. And it's that presence that deal with ritual sacrifice, causing harm, bondage, deceit. Like there's an agreement. So as I was thinking, Dwayne Baffa, that's two groups. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the getting to my son Abbas. I realized, let me tell you what another experience I had. This is dealing with the African American. Okay, now, and so I was thinking to myself, so many times I hear African American males and females say, your son, your son, your son. You know, it's like they're talking to one another, then all of a sudden they look like a movie. Because you can't really prove this and say your son. And say we are among a telepathic community. And this is dealing with spirit. So literally it looked like someone could be going crazy. Like, why is they saying my son? Oh my God, am I going? And they're looking to see if you're going to go crazy. They're looking to see what kind of body movements. How are you going to act? Are you going to splurt something out? Is she talking? Is he talking to herself? Okay. So if they threatening to do harm to my son, okay, I think about my father, because many times there have been implications through thoughts, especially after one of the Negro blacks, the African American Negro blackies or females try to engage and speak, and they usually try to put up some type of Freemason, or maybe they're standing with their legs apart, or they, whatever. They're trying to present themselves somehow in reference to Freemasonry or something like that. And they might say your father, or then they start making, or they'll send out, they start studying, or whatever, doing things like that. Or then they might send up a thought that my father was a homosexual. Dwayne, Bey. I think about my dad and many soulful men who don't know how these unclean spirits can attack the genitals and temptation at a young age. Abbas Malik Bey was 14 years old when he went to New York. 14 years old when he went to New York, okay? And so when he came back, he was being attacked spiritually, where his genitals were vibrating, and I could tell like he was humping something, or something was trying to hump him in the middle of the night. So he was 14 years old. He was 19 when he came to live with me or visit me for a short time. Imagine what he went through while he was in New York. So I'm thinking about, imagine what my father and other young soulful men went through, but then felt so embarrassed, hiding, you know? Or they might even they get possessed mentally. Possession, because the goal is possession of the mind. And they might actually be doing things. I'm not saying that my father participated in these acts, but I'm just telling you what is out in the universe. And doing such things, the women, the soulful women, with one of these blacky, unclean spirits, male and females. Because they keep threatening my son. So imagine Dwayne Battlefield Bey. I remember when I went through a time in my life that I did things that I wasn't proud of when I was in my younger teenage years. Whether it was dating outside my, dating a pale skin, dating a black male. Things, I was 16, 17, 18 years old. I can imagine being attacked to send chaos in our family, between me, my dad, and my sister, to get my father unbalanced. I'm his daughter. Mentally, my mind being attacked. I went through a time of depression. I remember this when I was younger, in my teenage years. And I didn't understand what was going on. Or I felt pressure in my mind when I was trying to go to school. Sometimes I couldn't even study. I could not even study. So this presence, this unclean spirit attacked lines. And they use this black Negro and other groups to do so. So now I can see how the unclean spirit, whether it's a pale skin that's being used to attack my father's daughter, which would be me, mine, causing chaos. Especially if his wheel's turning and his third eye starts to open up. He already demonstrated he was a Moor in so many ways. An entrepreneur. He was strong, very strong, compassionate. My dad never, he said things that were harmful, which was probably, now that I think about it, it might not even been himself. But he was very strong. I want to say strong, just really strong. Entrepreneur, hardworking. What would break him down? Well, if I can't get to him, I'll get to his child. Go to his child and break her down, causing pain in his heart. So that's exactly what they did with Abbas. Because too many times, Dwayne Battlefield Bey, when Abbas was going through his time where it was obviously he was being spiritually attacked, someone around this room at American Extended Stay would say, brother, stay, I love you, peace, he loves peace, so many times. Or when I was at work, earning money, I'm telling you, I'm not saying this, they were connected to Burger King. I'm not connecting Burger King to this testimony. I'm just giving you testimony of what's happening. Some of the guests will come in and say, your child. Oh, that's your child. Oh, that's her. Peace, oh, they're hurting him. Or imply that Abbas was being attacked spiritually when Abbas was here. So when these creatures, these black African American pale skin too, or Mexicans start saying your son, and they start threatening, it's no different than what they've been doing this to souls that are awakening. My dad probably third eye was awake and he was seeing, and plus he was probably into groups that had elevated his thoughts, but he was supposed to be quiet. And so when he started to do things that were elevating and they needed to shut him down somehow, they went after me. Then they went after my sister. Because this is the same tactic they doing today. Because I didn't know. That's how deep this is. I'm going to give you another testimony. Dwayne Bey. Then this is a testimony. I was earning money at Burger King. This is interesting. And I kept realizing daily, like it seemed like when I was take a person that's African American's order, all of a sudden I would spit somehow, just spit. Like I would say and the spit would come out. I was like, oh my gosh. Because I remember I wrote on my tweets how I would be walking from Burger King. Once again, this is not connected Burger King to this testimony. I would be walking from Burger King to my place of stay or domicile, or from my place of stay or domicile to Burger King, which is American Extended Stay in Annapolis, Maryland. And we would see, I know me and Amani both, we would see spit on the ground, like someone spitting, you know. And this is on that same path that we walk. We usually don't change it. And I realized sometimes I would spit. And then I realized as I would speak or take an order, I would spit, so I have to be careful. So I realized I need to start watching how I pronounce words. Cause I didn't understand why sometimes, you know, I feel pressure on me. I thought this was possibly the reason why I didn't spit. I'll finish this, but I wasn't sure. Because I remember before Bass was removed from here, he was spitting outside uncontrollably, like because he was definitely being possessed by an unclean spirit. As unclean spirits around the room were saying, brother. Okay? He would be spitting too. So right before I was about to take an order one day, I said, I'm going to watch what I say so I don't spit. I don't do it all the time, but just sometimes after a long day, or seem like, especially when an African American male or female would be there in front of me, I could do a little spit. Or sometimes it's like they would spit back, you know. It's like, what's going on? And then one time, one day, this was just last week, I was conscious. I said, I'm going to watch how I speak. The black male came and stood in front of me. And as I was slowing down my tongue so I don't speak, I felt my jaw, because I was trying to be careful, do like this. And then I shined my light, and there was a spirit, a spirit that looked like the customer, leave from me. Because as I was about to do, my jaw, like I was forcefully was almost about to allow me to force me to spit, and I shined my light, and that spirit left from me. Then he started mumbling, paid. He was looking around, paid. We paid, mumbling. He mumbled it, and then he started saying it paid, like he was giving an announcement. Okay, I said, paid, sir. This is what I did. I said, sir, paid? I said, yes, sir, you did. You paid for your Burger King food. And he said, I said, you okay? I'm here, because he looking around saying paid, and I'm trying to get his money. And then he said, that's an old military teaching. Old military teaching. You know, we look all around. We look behind us. We look around us. We look everywhere. We always looking around. I'm like, oh, I said, it's an old military teaching. That's why you were saying paid, and I'm saying looking around and saying paid. He like, yeah, it's old military teaching. I like, Now, isn't that interesting? So I'm gonna leave you with that thought, Dwayne Bey. This unclean spirit, Dwayne Bey. Once again, that's a testimony. I'm not putting Burger King with this testimony. Okay, even though at Burger King there are those that sit inside of Burger King for hours. I don't know why, but it's okay, because that's their right, that imply to be with the United States military. All right, or work for the United States military, Navy, or Army. And some of them have behaved odd or in a harassing manner that I had to document about, because I'm like, I'm new to Annapolis. What's wrong with these men or these males? What's wrong with these black males? What's wrong with them? And then also I think about, in reference to that presence, that unclean spirit, I think about how you have that, you know, it's not just us here. You got that spirit could come from China, because you got the Chinese. Any place where there's bondage and freedom and equality is not developed, is not I'm not saying all those that from China, because this particular Burger King is actually owned by a Chinese woman or Chinese American and a pale skin. Okay, so I'm not connecting that with them. What I'm saying is there's an unclean spirit. This unclean spirit is being served by unclean spirits in many nations, from China to India, from Europe to Arab, or the Arab countries, the Middle Eastern, the continent of Africa. So this unclean spirit that's in the universe, that's presence, is being served by many, and many of the leaders of the nations I have sold or attuned to their lower self, and have sold the natives out to it. That's what I see. Islam. I'll talk to you later. That's this is my testimony of spirituality and healing. Oh, and I am thankful that my eyes are open, because now if I get a thought of something that I've done that I wasn't proud of, I know that my eyes was closed. I didn't know. I was probably being manipulated, like many souls were and have been, whether it's dealing with financial, whatever, lucidity, whatever, anything that a soul has done, and they did not know that they were among these unclean spirits, probably had something to do with that unclean spirit manipulating the mind, the soul, not the soul, the mind and the spirit, because the spirit is connected to the mind. And so I know, and I remember feeling pressure when I was trying to study in school. Okay, I remember feeling in chaos, and when I was in my late teenage years, especially during the time when my mother's remains were found. My mother remains were found. Islam.